Today on the CTV News at 5, an update on the condition of a local hockey player critically injured in a weekend crash. Plus, a Medicine Hat man is recovering in hospital after an explosion rocks an apartment building in the Gas City. And Blood Tribe band members elect their next chief and council.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. A 26-year-old man is pleading for help, claiming that he was swindled out of his cash and home. Philip Martel is blind and wheelchair-bound. He's been staying at the Lethbridge Emergency Shelter since late October, but says it's no place for someone who requires around-the-clock care. Terry Vogt reports.
I'm asking for help from anybody right now.
Blind and wheelchair-bound, 26-year-old Philip Martel says he jumped on a bus and traveled to Lethbridge after a woman he met on a telephone chat line offered to provide a room and 24-hour care.
We agreed on $500 rent. She said, yeah, I'll take care of you, I'll help you get on your feet. I was with her for 2 weeks, then she kicked me out and took all my money and closed my bank account.
Police are investigating, but right now that's little consolation for Martel. Broken on the street, he's been staying at the Lethbridge Emergency Shelter and Resource Centre. Because he moved from British Columbia, he doesn't yet have an Alberta health care card. So no matter where he turns, he seems to be running into obstacles.
You got to talk to Alberta Health Services, talk to other people, you know. I can't even get out and go anywhere. I'm stuck in the shelter.
Martel isn't complaining about the staff or management. He says they've been supportive, and he's grateful to have a roof, since most shelters won't accept people with special needs. At the same time, Martel says he needs personal care and help with everyday tasks like getting dressed and cutting his food. He says the shelter isn't the place for a blind person in a wheelchair.
It sucks. It's scary being here in the shelter. This isn't the right place for me. They're not equipped to take care of me. They can only do so much here.
Shelter officials say there are privacy issues that prevent them from talking specifically about this case, but they want to assure us that there are several agencies and a number of people working on Philip's behalf to make sure he gets the support and care he needs. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Martel says he is receiving some income support and was expecting a check today, but he says he may not be able to cash it because his bank account has been closed. An 18-year-old foremost hockey player remains in critical but stable condition in hospital after suffering life-threatening injuries in a weekend rollover in Lethbridge. But family members report there are some positive signs in his recovery. Mackenzie Klatz returned to Lethbridge a month ago to play Junior B hockey with the Coaldale Copperheads. But he was flown to Foothills Hospital after being seriously injured during a collision in South Lethbridge early Saturday morning. His truck struck a parked vehicle, sheared off a light standard and rolled. Klatz's mother called the hockey team last night and spoke to his friends and teammates. The Copperheads also brought in a sports psychologist to meet with players and coaching staff. Family members say Klatt is being treated for a broken pelvis, broken sternum, and internal injuries, but he is mostly breathing on his own and is able to move his arms and legs. Teammates are wearing wristbands made of lace skates to show their support for Mackenzie. Several have also sent messages of encouragement to the ICU at the Foothills Hospital. And a Medicine Hat man is recovering from serious burns after an explosion rocked an apartment in the Gas City. And we now know the blast was a chemical explosion as a result of a cannabis drug lab. It happened last night shortly before 7:30, an apartment complex in the 300 block of 3rd Street Southeast. There were 2 adults and a child in the 4-story apartment at the time. One adult was seriously injured and flown to a Calgary hospital. The other adult and child were uninjured. Witnesses say the blast could be heard for blocks. The building manager says they first heard a big boom and thought maybe a vehicle had run into the building. Then the fire alarms went off and they called 911.
Then I heard screaming and I found one of the tenants that was in that apartment on the 3rd floor stairwell, and I could tell he was burnt. And we just told him to come on outside and stuff like that. As the tenants were all just trying to help each other to get outside, away from anything. I looked into the apartment and I could see that there was an explosion. It's very devastating for everybody here.
We're told charges are pending. The amount of damage caused is still being determined. Dory Rossiter, you're going to be pretty popular come Friday, 10 degrees. How nice is that?
Yeah, I know. That's the estimated high. Tomorrow, it's kind of a transition day. Some areas are going to see +5 in the Lethbridge region. Some areas just on the freezing mark. So kind of a transition day for temperatures. But yeah, you're right. Pretty mild conditions for the weekend. I'll have details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Sounds good, Dory. Thank you. A 15-year-old Lethbridge boy will be sentenced next month after pleading guilty to sexually assaulting his half-sister. This morning in court, the teen admitted to having sex with his sister 10 times in 2010. At the time, he was only 14 years old. She was 11. The boy admitted everything to police after the girl told her dad what was going on. The Crown is recommending 4 months in custody and 2 months community supervision, while the defense wants a probation order. Sentencing is set for December the 12th. A second person now faces charges in connection with a break-and-enter and assault in Copperwood. The incident happened in May at a home along Coalbanks Boulevard. The resident told police that he came home and was assaulted by 2 men and threatened with what appeared to be a gun. One man was previously charged and remains in police custody. Regional police have now charged a second suspect, 29-year-old Trong Min Nhin. He is from Calgary. Officers say it was a targeted attack. Nguyen says his first court appearance is going to be this morning. And the man arrested for abducting his son from the Elk Valley and fleeing across the borders to Montana is no longer fighting extradition. Robert Barnett initially refused extradition back to Canada, but has now reconsidered his opposition in a court appearance. Barnett is charged with abduction and theft over $5,000 after an Amber Alert was issued on November the 16th for his 3-year-old son, Alvin. The Canadian government gave U.S. law offices documents that they do not intend to file any additional criminal charges against Barnett. Officials in the U.S. say that it will likely take 30 days before an order is issued to return Barnett to Canada. Well, the Ktunaxa First Nation is going to court over the BC government's approval of the Jumbo Glacier. The band will file an application for judicial review on Friday. Earlier this year, the province created a resort municipality in the East Kootenay to help with the development of the resort. There are plans to build a $450 million year-round ski resort at the foot of Jumbo Mountain and Jumbo Glacier. That's about 55 kilometers outside of Invermere. The BC government says they're committed to the project. The Ktunaxa and environmental groups strongly oppose the project, vowing to fight it in the courts. And Blood Tribe band members have elected their next chief and council. A total of 3,242 members voted in Tuesday's election. The chief and council term is for 4 years. The next vote will be in the fall of 2016. Here are the unofficial results. Charles Weaselhead will remain the chief for the next 4 years. Weaselhead has been the chief since he was first elected to the position in 2004. He received just over 1,200 votes. Now, as for members of the new Blood Tribe Council, Al Blackwater received the most votes, followed by Billy Wadsworth and Dexter Bruised-Head. Robin Littlebear and Kyla Crow were tied in last spot with 395 votes. A coin toss was actually used to break the tie. An elections website on the reserve is reporting that Crow may appeal and seek a recount. And the Blood Reserve will soon be home to the province's first on-reserve public library. The soon-to-be Kainai Public Library is holding a used book sale tomorrow at the University of Lethbridge. The funds raised will help in establishing the library and setting up its systems. Tribe members say adding a library will help in their fight against a growing literacy problem on the Blood Reserve. Tomorrow's sale is not only a fundraiser, but also a celebration of a long-awaited achievement.
And this was actually a dream of mine when I first started working on reserve, and to see it become a reality it's truly amazing. And the professors, the students, their families, the whole community has really come together to support this initiative.
The book sale runs tomorrow from noon until 5 in the Student Union ballrooms at the University of Lethbridge. And Victoria Park High School students opened its doors to Lethbridge community organizations today. Regional Police were just one of the organizations on hand to meet with students at the second annual Community Youth Fair at the high school. It's a chance for students to learn more about agencies, potential post-secondary institution, and possible careers after high school. Organizers say the event helps the youth in the community to build positive relationships.
It's hard to engage everybody within a community, right? And so if we can make it more comfortable for them and let them know what great agencies and support they have outside. It's fantastic.
And plans are underway for a third annual fair. Now, Alberta has among the lowest childcare funding in Canada, and today a public interest group says it's time to sound the alarm. Public Interest Alberta launched a new advocacy campaign today calling on the province to step up and invest in building a better early childhood education and care system. The group says Alberta's allocation on regulated childcare spaces for each child 0 to 12 in 2010 was $341. That's compared to a national average of $752. This places Alberta as the 6th for provinces in Canada. According to the group, there are 87,000 children with parents in the workforce who can't get access to licensed daycare. And as we've been mentioning this week, we are finally going to be on satellite as of tomorrow. We're excited to tell you that starting Thursday, you can find CTV Lethbridge on Bell ExpressView satellite. It will be channel 643 on Bell. We're also still available on Shaw, cable channel 3 and channel 210 in HD, Telus Optic TV, channel 3 or channel 609 in HD. And if you haven't had enough numbers, we're going to show you the markets next.